Hello, welcome! It's yet another A Star to Steer Her By, your favorite Star Trek watching podcast, and we are on episode number 384.
God damn.
Woo! Freaking who! And this week we have a little bit of a treat thing for you, because instead of the next season of Discovery, we're doing that kind of thing they did between the seasons of Discoveries, which is those short treks.
Ooh.
So after 300 and however many episodes I said there were, you know that this is Ames.
This is Caitlin.
This is Jake.
And this is an android duplicate of Chris.
Nice. Chipper?
On a beach, please.
Cool. Yeah, so the episodes are...
On a beach, please.
Yeah. So the short treks we are covering are Runaway, Calypso, The Brightest Star, and The Escape Artist. But first, some backstory. So, these came between seasons 1 and 2 of Discovery, and they're kind of a way to, buy time to, quote, get season 2 of Discovery right, which basically meant they were taking more time than they thought they would.
And they called that getting it right.
Oofda.
I'm just kidding. I don't really remember.
Season 2... We'll talk about that in the coming weeks. But for now, we have these ones. They were designed to kind of be like these little tie-ins with the second season of Discovery, but appear on first viewing to be standalone so that the connections would, quote, be a surprise for the fans. And we'll see how successful they are when we get to the episodes where we get surprises as fans. Now, in principle, I like the idea of these little short treks because they're kind of like their own little stories that don't necessarily need to be full episodes. Some could be full episodes if they get it right.
I would have liked more Calypso.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so... And they also were nominated for an Emmy in Outstanding Short Form Comedy or Drama.
Oh,
Nice.
shit. Did they win?
No.
Oh. I guess you would have said that, huh?
This is Star Trek we're talking about here.
We don't win awards.
Well,
Yeah,
unless it's makeup.
I was about to say, I saw a post the other day that reminded me that Star Trek Beyond lost a makeup award to fucking Suicide Squad.
Ooh, that's like insult to injury.
There's a lot of good makeup in Suicide Squad. Have you seen that crocodile thing?
I haven't seen Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Did you?
No, but I've seen the images that made it win the award
The only
for
one I
makeup.
saw is Margot Robbie in clown makeup.
Yeah, I saw someone complaining at one point, being like, "How did we lose to this?" And they'll show that beautiful seashell head person.
That's exactly what the post showed, yeah.
Yeah, from Beyond, and then show Margot Robbie with half her face pink and half her face blue or whatever it was. And it's because there are other characters in the movie.
It's I've seen a lot of stills from the film, and
Honestly, Jared Leto's makeup should have been
well, that was roundly
disqualifying.
mocked when it came out. But
Yeah.
I've never seen the crocodile guy somehow.
Yeah,
so
for the other characters, they actually have makeup on.
Oh, yeah, because that thing, a lot of the promotional stuff was Margot Robbie and Jared fucking Leto and Will Smith, who just grew a beard.
Oh, because it's some kind of Suicide Squad, huh?
Anyway, this is the Suicide Squad.
And
And,
then
and honestly, anything that Jared Leto is in that wins an award, and I had to say that just so we could sneak in all three pronunciations.
Stamets.
Yeah.
Stamets.
Yikes.
Stamets.
Yeah. Anyway, so short treks. They're also we'll cover them again when we're between seasons 2 and 3, and then they kind of stop.
Which is a shame.
I think a large force behind that was COVID. In that's how we're just stalled out dead and has not returned, and I'd like it to return.
Yeah.
So sad face. But let's launch in. Let's start with Runaway. I'm going to do a quick synopsis for Runaway. Tilly is, getting a harassment phone call from her mother telling her she'll suck at the command training, which, frankly, didn't see that coming. Meanwhile, some feral monster has gotten onto the ship, and Tilly finds it, and holy shit, it turns out to be a perfectly sentient girl from the Zahian race. This is Poe. She's a cute little Zahian thing, and she befriends Tilly, and then we learn that, you're going to be queen of your planet, and you were running away from the responsibility because you think your planet's gonna, be hard to run. But don't worry, I bet you can do it. And then she's like, Tilly, I bet you can do the command training. Best friends forever, the end.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, she also invented a way to recrystallize dilithium.
Well,
I was going to say, and that's what she's worried about.
And we know that exists by the time of
TOS?
Of Star Trek 4. Actually, we know it doesn't exist because Scotty specifically talks about how they can't recrystallize dilithium.
Huh.
Wasn't
buried this invention.
The Xenians totally buried the knowledge to keep a monopoly on their dilithium supply.
Alternately, I mean, it actually would make sense based on the fact that it sounds like she's not just stressed out about being queen, but like they've recently obtained warp flight. They have dilithium, and we know from TOS, Starfleet has a huge hard-on for just exploiting dilithium.
Yeah, Tilly's
deposits.
eyes light up when Poe says we have dilithium, and then she's like, "Oh,
So
you're gonna get pounced on."
Yeah, like they're not just they found out they got warp flight. It's like, oh, we are going to fast track you into the Federation, just so we're clear. So she very well may have buried that herself just to try to somewhat ease the exploitation of her world.
The 51st state, so we could have their resources.
Oh no, the Greenland of space.
Well, but like, also, I think she was worried that they were going to like destroy the planet with it. Like that was like the big. It reminded me of my childhood. Everything was like, don't destroy the Earth when we were kids.
Well, we know that like there's like strip mining is a problem in Star Trek.
Mostly because the Federation keeps going to other planets.
Mostly because of Praxis. Like, because that's what, like, Praxis was a dilithium mine that was overmined and exploded. So that would be bad to happen to their planet.
Did it turn inside out first?
I don't know.
It might have.
Yeah. So a couple thoughts here, though. So she says that she invented recrystallizing dilithium. We can assume that knowledge didn't get out because Scotty didn't know about it, 20 years, 30 years from now, whatever. I'm going to suggest that she didn't, in fact, invent recrystallizing dilithium, and that when you were a kid, did you ever get one of those grow a crystal kits? Like, that's just what she had, and like her parents were like, oh, you did such a good job, sweetie. But no, kidding aside, actually not. I'm going to say that part of the reason why she ran away, that she didn't want to talk about, is that baby that lives in their son was harassing her and threatening her.
It's a Teletubbies joke? I don't get it.
Her name's Poe.
Right.
There's a Teletubby named Poe that's constantly harassed by the baby in the sun.
I think specifically that's the purple one that the conservatives were all flipped out.
No, it's the red one.
That's Tinky Winky.
That's Tinky Winky.
Why do you know so much about Teletubbies and yet you give us so much shit when we know things about Blue's Clues?
I know.
Yeah,
I had to look up because I was like, I had a inkling of a memory that there was one of the Teletubbies named Poe. So I if I unlock my phone, you will see the search is currently Teletubbies. So I looked it up right now.
Well, the reason why the name Poe might have struck chords in your memory, though, is that they had talking Teletubby dolls back in the day, and the Poe one goes barker, 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 but people were like, "Oh, it's saying f." So it was like this big trigger warning for that at the beginning. But yeah, people were like, "Oh, it's saying," but like adult people thought
adults
that
are fucking idiots.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But people thought that "Oh, it's saying dirty words," and it's like, no, it's like a fucking child's toy. So that's definitely not making homosexual slurs.
On one hand, you have the people that are outraged that Tinky Winky carries a purse, because I remember that was a big controversy.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, and he was also the purple one, and we all know that purple is the gayest of the colors.
And on the other hand, so that's pissing off your conservatives, and then on the other hand, you have these crazy liberals that are upset that it's using the F slur. So really Teletubbies just shot themselves in the foot with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I was just pissed because they were English or whatever.
Yeah. And that fucking baby.
And they look.
I don't blame her for running away from it. Seriously.
That baby's scary.
Yeah, and going and having ice cream with Tilly.
Also, can I just say something about the ice cream?
Okay, good. We're not still on.
This is about the end. This is about the episode.
Thank God.
So, we see the synthesizer. I've complained about the synthesizer before.
The synthesizer's a judgy bitch.
Oh,
it's
what a
judgy.
Bitch.
It's judgy.
Don't have
and
coffee.
Also,
more espresso.
It is absolutely not suggested in TOS that the synthesizers work like this. There's somebody that's making...
Well, because by the time TOS happened, enough Starfleet people had fucking gone crazy and ripped them off the walls for
these fucking asshole synthesizers.
That's what it is. They did work like that, but then everyone complained, so by the time of Kirk, they was like, fine, we'll reprogram them. Also, you lying bastard, that is not a quad. That's a double shot at best.
Oh, well...
Not even. By the time it got to her desk, it was like a shot. It was like this big.
A single shot of espresso is very tiny. That was probably a double.
Isn't it like an ounce?
Probably.
All right, well, anyway.
An ounce is very small. But yeah, so...
Well, how much is in a traditional shot? 1.5 ounces?
I think so. I think a 1.5 ounce is like a
so
shot
that's
of liquor.
about what... I mean, all right.
Either way.
Either way, Jake's trying to make a point.
Go ahead, Jake.
My point is, Tilly says it's Spumoni ice cream. Not Spumoni. They showed it. It wasn't Spumoni ice cream. It was...
No, I think she was saying that was something she did as a kid. She made a thing that synthesized Spumoni ice cream.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay.
I don't know that she was suggesting this one was Spumoni. Wasn't it vanilla? It looked like vanilla.
Well, the other problem I had with the ice cream, so maybe my Spumoni is not a valid complaint, because I don't know why she wouldn't just mention the flavor of ice cream that they already had if she's trying to, because Spumoni means nothing to Poe.
Yeah.
But also, that ice cream was very fucking melted.
Yeah.
Which suggests to me, this is a production complaint, that they used actual ice cream for the ice cream instead of some kind of prop that wouldn't melt between takes.
Mashed potatoes.
But ice cream is more fun to eat.
The traditional... So actually, you say that, but traditionally in film, when they need to make ice cream that they don't want to melt for shooting, they will use like canned cake frosting mixed with copious amounts of confectioner sugar until it gets to the point where you can scoop it and it will have like that kind of crackly look that scooped ice cream has.
Bro, I just got diabetes hearing
I know,
this.
right? I'm like, I would eat that instead of ice cream.
Oh my god, absolutely.
I honestly feel like
Let's go get some frosting and some fucking
mashed potatoes is
sugar.
probably a
much better idea.
And healthier.
But yeah, they clearly used something that got melty, which wouldn't make sense because the thing just happened. The ice cream would still be frozen.
Well, maybe because she like pinball machined that shit and it was just spitting food left and right. Maybe
the synthesizer didn't have time to freeze it.
Yeah,
Why
that's it.
Did the systems freak out?
I don't know. Wasn't she like in
Because
them?
it was a joke for the audience.
Yeah, and Poe has magic or something.
Here's another annoying, like, it's a minor thing, but I noticed it about the replicator just coming up with random foods and throwing them around, is that they were all, like, Earth-centric human foods, and also, like, American recognizable foods. Like, there was, like, spaghetti, hamburger, French fries, gelato. There was no...
No, it's Italian.
Everybody likes French fries.
I know.
Everyone like knows what gelato
Nobody
is.
was scalded by plomeek soup.
Yeah, there was
That
no
would've been good.
there were no like foods that we wouldn't recognize, or even foods like from other cultures.
Yeah, like where's the kimchi synthesizer?
Yeah, where's the
Come on.
sushi?
But
Where's
also,
this? Where's that?
Why does it have an eject violently function? This episode's bad.
It's not a good one. For the first one that came out, I was like, eh.
Poor introduction.
Yeah.
To the concept.
Well, that is a Discovery theme then.
Yeah, I didn't understand Poe's kind of story, and I've heard like she starts off like pretending to be a feral animal so that she can gain to like see what the deal is without Tilly like knowing that she's sentient, because she's trying to run away, she's undercover. And it's like, bitch, if you're running away and undercover, don't be wandering around mess hall when people are in it.
Yeah.
Even if you're cloaked. You're supposed to be a fucking genius, and you're doing everything wrong.
But she's only 17.
Yeah. So
to
is
be
the
fair,
cloaking...
she's a kid.
Well, we don't know what her ages are.
Speaking of the
planet.
cloaking, right?
Well,
so
I assume... Okay, fair enough.
We've seen other creatures in Star Trek that
Tosk!
can cloak. We had Tosk, we had the
Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadar. There's probably some other ones, but those are the two that spring to mind. So, do we think... And, like, the Jem'Hadar, I don't know, is it ever suggested that the cloaking is a natural ability or, like, a technology?
I think it comes up when when they don't have their white and they can't cloak.
Okay.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah,
once.
that actually sounds familiar.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely talked about it, but I do not remember the specifics. I'll trust Amy's memory, though.
I'm pretty sure we discussed it being a biological thing because we were surprised that episode that
Right.
it wasn't a technology.
But then again, the
Technological
Jem'Hadar
thing.
were genetically engineered by the founders.
And the Tosks were genetically engineered to be prey.
Yeah, and they're a prey species. Why does Poe's species have a cloak?
Because it's fun. Because it's a quirky, fun little episode.
Yeah, like, I mean, it would have been better if it was sort of a more natural-seeming camouflage. Like, a species that evolved and still has a camouflage, that's a fine idea.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's less camouflage and more a
Invisibility.
cloak.
Well, but again, a cloak, a camouflage wouldn't work because it wouldn't, in fact, affect her clothes.
Right.
Whereas the cloak is something that can extend beyond her skin to
that's a good
encompass her
point,
clothes,
too.
I guess. Which, I mean, that's consistent with Jem'Hadar and Tosk. So
I imagine, too, if you actually evolve with a natural, like, camouflage ability, you would maybe come up with clothing that it can extend to somehow.
Yeah,
like
that
biomechanical.
scene with Edna in The Incredibles. It's like, oh yes,
Yeah.
I've made all of your costumes so that they work with your abilities.
You said Edna, and before you said Incredibles, I was trying to remember, like, who the fuck is Edna from Star Trek? But,
Edna from Incredibles, the lampshade queen.
yes.
Like, huh?
No cloaks or capes. No capes.
No capes.
No capes. We don't want to animate them. Which is the real reason they came up with that
That's
rule.
smart.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a good point. If you're flying at the speed of light next to an airplane, you don't want to get sucked into a jet.
Yeah, and this is why Poe doesn't have a cape either.
Right?
But I kind of agree. I think if they really wanted to do something with the Poe character to make it seem like there was development or like even I don't know, something happening.
This is basically Tosk, isn't it? Fuck me.
They should have Oscar Isaac play her and have him in a totally different franchise altogether.
Another Poe.
Ah.
Well, they should. It was too much to develop and build this character and make me care about them
In like 15 minutes.
in 15
No,
minutes.
They bring up this whole our species and our planet emerge at the same time, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
And calling the planet my twin and considering the planet one of you, fascinating.
Yeah.
15 minutes is not enough time.
and like what is that? Like what
is that everybody or just her?
Yeah, it was unclear to me. Like, wait a minute.
Because she keeps saying, it's my twin sister.
Were you born at the same time as your planet?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. It's
I assume
not
it's
clear.
a cultural thing.
I assume too.
They
Yeah.
all refer to it as their twin.
I assume they were like microbes or something.
It's also
at the
probably
time.
like
That's the thing, I guess in that sense, like... Well, actually, there is a theory that some of the... Anyway, in theory, all species maybe could have been born with their planet if you use a microbe approach. Though, again, like I said, there is some theory that some of the stuff that eventually led to life here actually would have come from space,
or
on, like, meteorites and shit.
it could be it could be non-literal too. It could be like
religious
Yeah.
sort of
I
expectation.
mean, she implies that you don't know what is possible, bitch.
Yeah.
That it's literal, but who knows?
Again, if it was more than a 15 fucking minute thing that was mostly about Tilly being in a mood because her mother's a bitch.
Yeah, and honestly, like, as an episode of a different show, like if a show that like actually
or a
featured
side plot
discoveries as part of its plot.
Nope, nothing but war.
Like put this in like a TNG plot. They go to some planet like where there's a debutante that escapes. Oh shit! That's like 40 fucking episodes of Star Trek.
But I say that's actually even like. God, even TOS, and she had the dilithium crystal necklace and didn't realize how valuable.
Ilana Freya.
Yeah, didn't realize how valuable it was because these are just trash rocks where I come from, and again, giant boner from Starfleet. Like, we are fast tracking.
I mean,
you.
honestly, that's if they really wanted to fan wank, which they do. They love fan wanking. They could have just made her have come from. I guess Troyes, is that the
But
name
then
of the
she
planet?
couldn't have had crazy back spines and
No, they changed appearance.
No,
like the
I know.
Klingons have looked like monsters now.
I liked her eye effect. The eye effect.
So
was
they could
cool.
just
the
retcon
extra eyelid or
that
whatever.
the people from that planet look that way.
Yeah.
And like it's basically the same story then,
Yeah, you got her, you've got fucking Precious Cargo, the Enterprise remake of Precious Cargo. Oh, that I have it backwards. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Perfect Mate and Precious Cargo.
At least this one wasn't gross and sexual.
Yeah, no, and I think
Which even Lana Troy has had some of that.
and like giving Tilly something to do is fine.
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of Mary Wiseman's acting this little episode. I think there were definitely moments where I could see the actor acting, especially when I think it was specifically when she learns that Poe is a queen, and she's like, "Oh goodness! Oh, I don't know what to do with this information." It's like, Chili, this is not acting.
She went
What
full
are you
C-3PO.
doing?"
And like opening it with the, Tilly, we like the biggest cliche in history, the Tilly is a disappointment to her
Your
parents.
stepsister is so much better than you.
It's like really, did you just like I know ChatGPT didn't exist at this time, but did you really just ask ChatGPT to give you like a reason for Tilly to be angsty?
Also, like, again, I get it's not the point of this format, but like I will never believe there is a time where there is only one person in the mess hall. And like, how did she get through the ship? Well, because she can cloak. But so, like, in theory, she's walking through the ship with what's-her-nuts Poe cloaked next to her. Like, it's a crowded ship usually.
Well, I think the reason why she was the only person in the mess hall was it was like late at night or
Wasn't
very
it
early.
fifth
Shift
shift.
5?
Oh yeah, that was another thing that pissed me off. Shift 5.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah. What? How? Okay.
Jellicoe is cackling.
Jellicoe
somewhere.
is like, yeah, 5 shifts.
Yep.
I'm
That's a
assuming
lot.
they couldn't be operating on a 24-hour day then.
Maybe it's 25 hours. Maybe it's 5 hours.
And everyone's 5
5
hours on
shifts.
shift, or are they
Maybe
multiple
you work,
shifts?
Yeah, well,
Everybody works 2 shifts back to back.
maybe not even back to back. Maybe you get like a meal break or a meal and a nap
Maybe,
break.
but still,
a
5
shave
hour
and a
shifts.
haircut.
That just seems weird. Shift 5.
It does.
It
Very
does.
strange.
Or maybe it's 6 shifts, 4 hours each.
That's true.
And
Yeah, they don't
you
actually
do,
say
and then
it.
you do 2 shifts at a time.
We're assuming that 5
like
is
you
the
were saying.
last shift, but it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Fuck your circadian rhythm to death, though.
Well, but yes, but if you're in space all the time.
Yeah, here's retcon. Right, so we know this has to have taken place after season 1 of Discovery because Tilly's already in the command program.
Yep.
Yeah.
But let's just assume that like they still don't have their new captain yet. So maybe they must still be on their way between Earth and whatever. I don't know
when
where
the hell
it
is
fits
this
in.
happening?
Or maybe they do have their new captain, and there's a Vulcan asshole because they're going to Vulcan to get their new thing, and the Vulcans are like, well, on our planet we all work 5-hour shifts 5 times a day. Or it's some holdover from Lorca, who like implemented some sort of crazy Terran
I was about to say maybe
scheduling system.
during the war they have some kind of weird system where it's like you're on for a short shift, on a break, on for a short shift, some kind of...
Yeah, and then overnight.
20,
that people don't get, like,
24
burned out
1-hour
horribly.
shifts.
Yeah. But yes, I noticed that 5 shifts. I was like, oh man, Jellicoe joke.
Anywho.
Let's move on to the next one.
Jokico.
Yeah.
Let me see if I had anything else. Oh, there was a line I fucking hated where you're talking about, we evolved with the planet, something. You're the evolution. And I wrote, what kind of line is this? Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Just some
Maybe the
magnetic
next
poetry.
one will be better, though.
What's the next one?
I don't remember.
Well, the next
Calypso?
one is Calypso.
Oh,
I liked Calypso.
Our first Trek written by Michael Chabon, who I usually really like. He didn't do great with season 1 of Picard, but he's great in this.
To be fair, no one did very good with season 1 of Picard, so
Right.
you can't just blame him.
No, and normally I really like his work.
I'm just teasing you anyway.
Here is a quick synopsis of Calypso. So there is a craft in space.
Ah.
A craft in a craft in space.
And its life system is failing because it's got a guy in a cryopod in it. And Discovery picks it up, and we learn that this is 1,000 years in the future. And the computer on Discovery has evolved into a sentient being named Zora. And she befriends this guy and basically says, well, I can't bring you back to your planet yet because I have to stay here because it was my last command and I have to do it. And the guy's like, that was 1,000 fucking years ago, you psycho.
No one's coming.
But they befriend each other, and it's very cute, and they do a little reenactment scene of Funny Face with the holodeck, and Zora totally falls in love with this guy. His name actually turns out to be Kraft, aside from my silly joke. But she learns, like, I do have to let him go, so she does.
Mm.
Well, it's because in that millennia old database of media that she has that Christina Aguilera song where it's like, if you love something, let it go. If you come back, that's how you know.
I don't know if I know this one.
Actually, it might be Britney Spears.
I don't think it's Britney Spears.
No, I think it's
I think
Christina.
it is Christina.
What a girl
Right.
wants.
Jake's a big Britney fan.
All right, nice. But yeah, sorry, the bad joke, and it took longer than it should have. So
Yeah, the thing
Moving
I super, super liked about this particular short trek is that it's very original, and it has all original characters in it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
Yeah,
refreshing.
I think that's a great use of this format.
Yeah.
Of the short trek format to like tell us I mean, it wouldn't even have to be a short trek.
tell a
but
story
like,
that wouldn't fit anywhere else.
Yeah.
A couple thoughts though. So you said that it's 1,000 years in the future, but that's not necessarily true. It's just said that Zora has been waiting at that spot for 1,000 years, and that might come up later as we watch Discovery. It might be significantly more than 1,000 years in the future.
That's true. I don't know how much we want to spoil that, but yes. So now this
Foreshadowing.
This is likely the furthest in the future that we ever see a Star Trek portrayal.
Yes.
But we also, like you said, we don't know exactly how long it's been yet.
Later on about when exactly this might be.
But we also don't exactly know how long that one specific scene in Living Witness was.
That's true. That could have been much later.
Yeah, but because that one doesn't get a specific date.
So, but yeah, I would buy that this is the latest. But yeah, definitely in competition with living witness.
Now, Zora should be feral as fuck at this point if she's been on her own for 1,000 years.
Yeah, well...
Oh, she's been watching Betty Boop. It's kept her...
So
Zora,
he was, but...
So Zora is the ship, right? Like
basically,
Zora
that's... I mean, yeah.
Yeah, which is a fun concept.
Yeah, the ship's a lady.
It's a fun concept until... Spoiler.
For
future
discovery.
Yeah.
This is where that little hint that I gave at the top of this, where it's like, oh yeah, things that will pop up in the next seasons of Discovery. When you're like, oh, I liked it better when it was just on its own.
Yeah, no. Hate it.
Yeah, so the other I think this is a correction. I don't know, but you said that he was in a cryopod. I don't know that he was. I think he was just in that ship.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think there was a
he was
cryopod because
he
watched Betty
passed
Boop's
out.
811 times.
He was watching Betty Boop.
I thought it was
the
a
whole time.
cryopod.
Yeah, no. That's the thing. He was like stuck in that thing for a month, unconscious.
Okay. In that case,
so that must have been hell.
My question was, why is this cryopod like at a window facing outside? What's the point of that?
And we should share it because I'm sure it's on YouTube. So the Betty Boop cartoon he was watching was, I don't know if this is relevant at all to the show, but he was watching the Betty Boop Snow White.
Yeah, that's what I thought it must have been.
Which has like...
That's why he's in the little glass case.
Oh, maybe that explains... Yeah, because he was in the case and she was in a glass case in that
and she
cartoon.
wakes him up.
Yeah, so that...
And they're in love.
It is relevant.
That's cute.
Yeah,
it's
so you're
very
right.
cute.
It does. It's totally relevant.
Yeah, good job. I didn't realize that was...
but we should share that because it's actually really great. The animation in there is really good.
I've never seen it.
I don't think I've ever seen any Betty Boop, like full stop.
You should watch it. Yeah, it's all right. It's very of its time.
Yeah,
like
sure.
In the 30s or whatever it was, but it's a good watch. It's a good showcase of animation. There's some like minstrel stuff kind of. That's a little.
Yeah, you get a lot of that back then.
But
Well, but is she herself not kind of minstrel stuff?
I mean, she's supposed to be a person of color.
Is she?
I think she's supposed to be black. Although she's
Which
always
is wild because they draw her white as shit.
Yeah, well, I think that's just because they didn't really shade things very well. But yeah, I mean, I think her hair is kind of the giveaway because she's got kind of that baby hair look. But I've always assumed that she was mixed race or otherwise.
I only recently found out that she's like actually based off of an actual person of color.
Oh yeah, and I think the person that she's like based off of was
I did not
black
realize
as
she
well.
was based off of someone.
I only found this out like in the last year or so.
But yeah, I think it was like her hair. I think is like that's a style of hair that white people don't have.
Wow. Damn. All right, I'm learning all kinds of shit here today. This is exciting.
But anyway,
I'd like to know more.
But yeah,
right
I don't know if it's more. I don't know if she's like a pastiche of people of color, but there's like other characters in that particular cartoon that are like very clearly like minstrel inspired.
But
anyway, it's worth watching.
Now
Judge for yourself.
Alcor 4, is that a human colony? Is Kraft supposed to be human, or do we actually know?
So she says that she didn't have any record of human
colonies on
there.
Yeah.
She said, clear my records are out of date.
So that's implying that he's probably human then.
Yeah, and later he says, you reminded me what it is to be human.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
So,
Good.
presumably he's human?
Yeah.
And they're not just using it to mean a sentient being.
Okay. Yeah, I did like her comment of, well, that was 1,000 years ago, so the records have likely been out of date. There's a lot of like great little touches in this episode that I super, super appreciate. Like the montage scene of like time passing when he's in the galley.
All the duplicate copies of it.
And there's duplicate crafts walking around so you can tell like time is passing, which is a great technique that looks really cool.
Yeah.
I love their exchange about Taco Tuesday so much. It's so cute.
What's a Tuesday?
I love it.
Yeah, no, that's a nice...
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, Michael Chabon doing great sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that it's original characters. It creates a great question in the viewer about like, okay, this is interesting. So if we assume that all of these short tricks are canon, then that means that at some point this discovery is left
for 1,000
in space for 1,000 years. So I'm sure the show will pay this off in a satisfying way. And we'll just have to wait and see because now I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, okay, well, how did it get here? Why was it there for 1,000 years? Where is the crew? What happened to them?
I have a line here that may spoil. I'll see how much it spoils and quickly decide to leave it in or not. In a May 2024 interview with Variety, then showrunner Michelle Paradise said that Calypso was going to be slated to become the central narrative engine for season 6 of Discovery.
Oh.
But Discovery got canceled.
That's a bummer.
But I'm not going
Interesting.
to...
And I'm sure the writers were like, saved by the bell.
Yeah, and I know Caitlin hasn't seen season 5, so I won't spoil anything from season 5, but that explains
Actually, I saw a couple, right? Didn't I
Yeah,
watch a
but
couple?
it's later.
I mean,
that
honestly,
gets dealt
though,
with.
there's subtle world building happening in Calypso that I think, because, fans, I would include myself among them, are kind of miffed that we, with Star Trek, we have largely stuck to the same 200-year period from start to finish. Every Star Trek kind of fits between the time of Enterprise and the time of TNG. And that's where everything happens. But there's so much stuff after, you can go into the future indefinitely. So, I would be really interested potentially in what's happening here. And, one word that Kraft uses in this show is, or funny face, I guess is his proper name.
I love that. I squeeze.
But one of his, things that he references the Federation, which sounds oddly similar to Federation, and makes me think that he refers to it a couple times, and Zora even says
This is very Tondisi of them.
Yeah,
from
it's
the
very
100.
yeah, exactly. It's very much
Should
e
be watching the
Plagnista. But yeah, it's so I guess my takeaway from that is the Federation exists. People call it Federation, and it is, or V'ger. V'ger's another example.
Yeah.
But it's they're bad, maybe, or whatever is now the Federation or the Federation is not what it originally was. So make
just Section 31.
a series about this future where there's this kind of corrupted backwards Federation that's imposing their shitty will on everybody.
Watch our cartoons.
Yeah,
your cartoons suck.
And that are obsessed with the past, because that's something that Kraft complains about too.
It's a Betty Boop.
It would be really interesting, I think, to explore that and okay, Kraft's people, or the people that are resisting the Federation, how do they their story? What happens? I think that would be a cool, fertile ground for some future storytelling in Star Trek.
Yeah, see what this war that he was fighting for, Alcor for, presumably.
Turns out the Maquis did survive, and now they're fighting the Federation.
Yeah.
I mean, there is this weird tension in Star Trek that does always exist of it's like you said, they're obsessed with the fucking past in Star Trek.
Oh yeah, there's always somebody.
Yeah.
There's always somebody.
Even, the writers more than anything.
Yeah.
They keep doing prequels.
Yeah. But even but just, there's always that, there's always the character who's especially interested, Tom Paris is especially fond of the past.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone loves the fucking past on Star Trek.
Even Zora, apparently. She watches Funny Face on repeat.
Yeah. But it's when and there's nothing wrong with holding on to older art and history and all that sort of thing, but when you think about it, actual obsession with the past, an inability to move on from it, is a hallmark of, to me, ultra conservatism. You're unwilling to look towards and move into the future.
I mean that's the definition of conservatism.
True.
It's
But it is kind of funny that there's always this weird mix with Star Trek, where on the one hand they're super futuristic and they're explorers and they're about all this, but then also weirdly hung up on classical music and whatever movie is currently public domain at the time of the making of the episode.
Or public domain, or
Yes.
or within the Paramount catalog.
Vault, one of the, so it's to see them actually try to address that tension would have been interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know. This episode, I really enjoyed it. I think it does something that I think sci-fi should do, and that's create questions. Now, it's only 15 minutes, so it doesn't necessarily answer any of them, but that's okay, because there's always more Star Trek to do, and they could always come back to this, and I hope they do.
Yeah, it wasn't one that at the end, the questions made me unhappy that I didn't know the answers. The questions made me think of exciting things.
Yeah, not
unfulfilled things.
Yeah.
Not every question needs an answer.
Oh man, in fact, some really don't.
Yeah, in media especially, sometimes it's better to let it be. let it go.
It's like in that episode of Doug where like nobody knows what the retinor is or whatever, and like everyone's like, oh, I wasn't even, they're like all terrified of it, but it turns out that it's just like a really bad rubber suit, and like you can see the zipper.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah. What was the one that came after this?
No, we're not done yet.
Oh.
I have more smaller notes. First off, that this is the first episode of Star Trek that we don't see any Starfleet officers or that we don't see any Starfleet officer uniforms,
Yeah.
which is a little bit fascinating.
yeah.
And I do love that Kraft is too ripped for that shirt.
Yeah.
And Dora's like, let me make you a shirt that will confine those muscles. And also, yum.
I did like his little flight suit at the end because I feel like the weird hexagonal gold pattern just sort of reminds you of the like excess of shiny space materials in TOS.
It looks like a frying pan.
Yeah, it did kind of remind me of like the hex clad.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looked like Gary Mitchell's eyes.
Yeah, or like the sheets in sickbay in TOS.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Oh, those things.
And weren't there like surgical gowns, and didn't Deep Space Nine have like a really weird surgical
No,
gown
they're just
situation?
burgundy.
Yeah.
Oh, really? But it looked like nun costumes
They
or
did.
something.
Well,
Maybe that's what I was thinking
DS9
of.
had it, Julian wore it at one point, but also we see it in TNG when Picard has his heart surgery.
That's right.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
I thought you were going to say it's what
Pulaski
Q is
gets to
wearing
wear
in the
it.
first...
I mean, it kind of looks like something Q would wear.
I've also seen the nit picked that you wouldn't see a shooting star while in space.
Is that true? What a bummer.
Oh, yeah.
Because you would see a meteor, which is flying through the atmosphere.
But it wouldn't have I mean, if it's flying through space, it wouldn't have a tail unless it was near a star.
Right, so it's not a comet necessarily. So unless it's some other phenomenon.
It could be a rocket. It could be.
Yeah, there you
It could be
go.
some man-made thing just blasting
it's
through.
the soldiers on the other side of that war coming to find him.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because the only reason comets have tails is because of solar wind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like meteorites, they only have tails because they're burning up in atmo.
Yeah.
Meteorites are on the ground.
Or
meteors are
meteors.
in
Yeah.
atmosphere.
You
Meteoroids
knew what I
are in
meant.
space.
Well, this has been a fun recap of all the science I haven't remembered. So thank you for this.
Betazoid, Beta Z, Stamets.
Stamets. Dear God.
Mark. I'm Mark.
Oh, and then just the computer like being in denial that she's even considered a person. Like she tries to kiss him, and he's like, no, and she's like, it's okay, I'm not a person, and then like, no, you fucking are, bitch.
Yeah.
Which is a fascinating concept, which was just enough. We got just enough of it.
Yeah, I want to know what level of cruelty resulted in leaving a sentient being in deep space for 1,000 years. Like, what monster
Well, she said
has done this?
She said she evolved, though, so...
That's true. She might not have been sentient at the time she was left behind, but like...
Worst fucking...
Perhaps one day we'll return to see what fruit grows from the seeds we planted here today.
This fucking
1,000
shitty, rotten
years
seed.
later.
Someone set the timer for 1,000 years.
This is Futurama, literally.
Yeah, literally.
They put the spaceship in a time capsule and turned it to 1,000 years.
Yeah, and the last note I want to mention, just because it's cool, and because Jake and I just finished watching Chaos on Netflix, which is great, and canceled too soon.
Canceled
Yeah.
every
I had to
season.
complain.
Terrible.
That the title of the episode being Calypso is because Calypso was the nymph that kept Odysseus on an island until the gods said, send him home, you goddamn psycho.
Okay, I meant to look into that because I should have remembered that because I've read the Odyssey.
Carrying on. Moving on to The Brightest Star. So we're on Kaminar, which is Saru's homeworld, and we meet his sister Sirana, kind of, and his dad Eridar, who's apparently a priest, I read. Neat
Yeah.
of him.
He had a little deadly
shell
Yeah.
shaker.
And he's doing the whole priest thing of not giving anyone fucking information, so that when Saru's like,
Classic.
hey, you know when the Ba'ul send this harvester whenever we go through Vaharai, which is this biological Kelpian thing? Is that necessary? And Father's like, we don't question.
Yes, it is.
We don't question these things. And he's like, okay, Dad, but a chunk of something, as often happens evidently, fell off of the Ba'ul structure.
They make crap ships.
And Saru, even though he lives in like a farming town, is somehow a technological wizard. And he uses it to like send out a message saying, hey, this sucks for me, and I don't like it. Help. And eventually, a Federation shuttle comes and picks him up, and it's Giorgio, and that's how. And this is Saru's origin
Lieutenant
story.
Giorgio.
Yes. Yeah. So I gotta say, what this does, this is not so much a peek at the future, but it's a retroactive thing. When in the finale of Discovery, they're like, the first Kelpian to win this award, it's like, yeah, the only Kelpian not on that planet.
The first Kelpian to fart on a Federation
Like,
bridge.
everything he has done has been the first Kelpian to X in the Federation.
Well, we
Like,
don't know. I mean, maybe there's other Kelpian colonies on other planets. We don't know.
Maybe the Ba'ul have actually been taking Kelpians and bringing them to
Maybe.
them.
The impression I'm under from this is that this is the only one, and he is the lone escapee.
I also have that impression, but I want to throw out a possibility. I want to throw out a suggestion, maybe. All we see, like, we don't see them get killed or anything. All we see is them...
They vanish.
They vanish. They go around this, like, plinth, and there's a flash, and then they're gone. They could just be getting beamed up. For all we know, the Ba'ul are just other Kelpians. Like, spacefaring Kelpians, and maybe they have to... Maybe their larval phase is on the planet, and then, like, at a certain point, they have to be... Then they're extracted, and now they're part of the Ba'ul, which is like a spacefaring species.
But then how come the Federation didn't know them at all?
Well, the Federation does know the Ba'ul.
Yeah.
Because they recognize the technology and saying the Kelpians shouldn't have this technology.
But she also said that he had a totally new face, meaning even if they've met the Ba'ul, they don't look at all like the Kelpians.
Well,
then.
maybe
with larval
the
phase.
Va'arhai changes your appearance.
I mean, a caterpillar doesn't look like a butterfly.
I think it is conspicuous, though, that they don't actually show them getting killed. It's just kind of suggested.
Which is a little interesting, because the one thing we knew about Kelpians that Saru has told us is that they are a prey species.
Yeah.
And this doesn't quite fit that, because you don't really get that they're being preyed upon. You get that they're doing a self-sacrifice thing.
Yeah. Although, again, they do use the verb harvested, so... That has implications.
Yeah, but it also implies that they know what's happening to them when they disappear, which it seems like once you vanish, you don't come back.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, the thing is, he could have... he could be like, well, we evolved from a prey species. And they're still... now they're farmed prey. But, I mean, when you think about humanity, we have domesticated what had been prey.
Kelpian farm to
true.
table.
Yeah, I mean, they could just be domesticated creatures. Now let's assume that the Ba'ul are harvesting them for food. We know they're delicious.
Yeah. I imagine them as being like big space shrimps.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the Va'arhai is when their ganglia are at their tenderest.
They eat feces?
What?
Shrimps.
Oh.
Shrimps.
The shrimp eat feces?
Oh, of course.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, but...
I mean, everything eats some amount of feces.
Well, yes, but... I genuinely didn't know that. But yeah, it's funny, too.
You want to get shrimp after this?
I don't know. Your Ames, to me, you're sort of the resident Lovecraft expert. I definitely feel like there's maybe a little bit of the cosmic horror to, like, the Kelpian point of view of, like, the priest brings us together on the plinth and we vanish. That just feels very, like... And I don't know if you got a similar vibe.
I didn't. I got big, like, half-a-life vibes from this. When you reach the stage of life, you go and off you go to the next thing and don't question
Well, what's
it.
interesting, though, is that it's clear, when you reach a stage of life, but it's clearly not a specific age because Saru's dad is like an old man.
Too.
So maybe it's kind of more like the quickening.
It just happens
at
triggers
some
sometimes.
point.
Yeah, like I was sort of thinking of it as being like, Kelpian puberty, sort of.
Yeah,
but
or like menopause or
something.
Some
something like
stage
that.
of life that happens.
Well, you don't want to wait till menopause, then they're just all tough and gamey.
Well, I mean, that's maybe for a human, but not for a Kelpian.
So what is Saru's dad's deal then?
Well, maybe some it just never happens to.
He is a priest. Maybe as a priest he has a way around it.
I think the way that they know that when they go through the change it's time to get eaten is because a deal was struck many, 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 many years ago where the people of Kelpia, or wherever the fuck they're from...
Taminar.
Yeah, sure. We're like... we're like...
I almost said Camino.
Like,
Wrong franchise.
listen, like... you can scratch our back, we can scratch your back. We'll give you like 5 Kelpians a month, and you let the rest of us just kind of do our thing and plow our fields or whatever.
Yeah, and over years and years, it becomes this kind of thing that they worship.
Yeah, ritual.
Yeah, it's just lore, and now it's like, oh, but you're making a great sacrifice for your people, and that's true, because if they're taking 5 Kelpians, again, it's probably more like 500, but if you're taking X number of Kelpians a month, and it means the rest of the people can live for another month, then, it's a noble sacrifice. I mean, kinda, you're really just dying like a bitch, but which is why Saru's so mad. But that's what I think happened, and that's why I think there are priests, and why I think they know, and why they're the propaganda machine. They have to get everybody on board to do this thing, because
priests are always the propaganda machine.
The alternative is the bow will just wipe them out or something.
Right, well, it's like the ant and the grasshopper or something,
Well, the Baul also don't want, if they are indeed eating them, the Baul wouldn't. It's just like with lobsters and stuff. If the lobster's below a certain weight, they're legally required to throw back because to sustain the population.
Right.
So maybe that's why it's only after a certain point.
Right. And actually, in a way, then puberty or something kind of makes sense, because it's like you've grown, or it being puberty-esque, because it's like you've reached full height and like...
Or maybe it's also like after, maybe like menopause might make sense, because maybe that's when you are no longer capable of producing offspring.
Oh, yeah. And that's when your metabolism is definitely stopped, and you're getting nice and plump for the harvesting.
No, what it is, it's what is the word again?
Vaharai.
It's when they lose the ability to molt, and they're going to die anyway.
There was a lot of great threat ganglia acting.
There was.
All episode long, those threat ganglia were
all the
things are bad.
To ganglia CG.
Everything bad.
Eat your heart out, Porthos.
Oh, I get it. The
right?
the Baul are the claw from Toy Story.
Wow. Oh, you broke Chris utterly.
Poor Chris.
Dearie dear.
Yeah, but the thing about this episode, because it's interesting that it kind of fills in Saru's backstory, but it fills it in with stuff that I was not expecting.
It comes completely out of left field.
Yeah, because I think Doug Jones has basically said, I initially thought Kelpians were more like cattle, and this, to him it says it makes more sense because, otherwise, how are they sentient? Yeah. How are they sapient creatures? But it makes me wonder even more, but wait, if you were just in a little farming town, how did you figure out how this piece of technology works? How did you figure out that it's a thing you can use to transmit messages instead of an ice cream maker?
Some people just can look at a thing and figure out how it works.
Yeah, but he's, literally never interacted with any technology. Ever.
Unless... And this is a stretch because we don't see it in the episode, but...
Not on this show. We don't know.
There must be some kind of way that in the past the Baul have communicated with the Kelpians.
Right.
Maybe it's something only the priests have access to, and he as a priest's son has had access to it.
I don't know, because his dad doesn't tell him anything. And it made me wonder, what is the time scale of this episode?
It does feel like they were trying to imply at least some time was passing, but they didn't do a great job of showing how much.
It looked like a day. It looked like the next day he left.
He figured out how to use the thing.
But yeah, I think he was supposed to think he spent a while fucking with it.
I did not get that impression.
And then...
Including trying to fuck it.
And learning English.
My God.
English, only 5-letter words, though.
Yes.
All you can learn of English are 5-letter words, son of a bitch.
It could have been 6 if not for the fucking backslash.
That was kind of dumb. And also, how... If it has to be in English, because, that's how the audience will understand it, that's a terrible way to use this device. It should be something with more, symbolic languages in which you can say more!
Yeah, there's elements that don't make a ton of sense. I'll buy that for whatever reason, just fucking around with it. Maybe it mostly worked, and he just got lucky and pushed the right buttons to make it work.
He Fonzed it, he just slapped it, and it started working.
Hey!
He is the Fonzie of Kelpians.
This also...
I like that.
He is a cool guy.
This episode also kind of gives us more of an explanation for why Saru seems to really dislike Michael Burnham, and for most of the time, at least until sort of near the end of the season. Because if Burnham looked at Georgiou as a mother figure, Saru definitely looks at Georgiou as a mother figure and a savior.
Yeah, I was gonna say a god.
And because she doesn't meet Burnham, Georgiou doesn't meet Burnham until she's already captain of the Shenzhou.
Yeah.
So at this point she's a lieutenant.
Yeah.
So she's and
She and
a
Saru have
lieutenant
a
is
lot of
several
history.
levels away from captain. You have to go through lieutenant commander, unless there's like
No, she can skip.
she
She's
can, unless there's a
allowed.
Kirk level of skip, like from cadet to captain.
Oh Jesus, you broke games.
But we
Louise.
assume that most of the time you go through the ranks, but maybe not. Maybe she's so brilliant they let her in. But anyway, but I think we can assume that considerable time has passed between the end, the end of this and when Burnham comes on. So basically, from Saru's perspective, he's like, I am loyal to Giorgio. I've served with her since she was a lieutenant. She saved me from getting culled by the shitheads.
I mean, if we assume
Baul.
they made him go through the academy, she was probably his sponsor.
Oh, certainly.
Oh, definitely. Like Janeway was in Prodigy.
Yeah, like just in constant contact with him. Like, yeah, they have a very old relationship.
Or Cisco was to Nog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so clearly many years have passed, and then suddenly Golden Girl... It doesn't work because of the show Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Golden Girl
Arthur shows
as the
up.
alternative to Golden Boy. Michael Burnham shows up, and it's like the new favorite child.
Platinum.
Yeah, first officer, all this. Saru must feel pretty shitty about that.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for disliking, or at least having resentment towards. And then of course, Burnham goes and gets his mom killed.
Super killed.
After trying to usurp her as captain. So yeah, Saru has...
For a second, I thought you meant his actual
No,
mom, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
No, his
mom clearly only went through her Vaharai.
Yeah, I know. What a bummer.
But yeah, so... Yeah, it makes perfect sense now why Saru seems to really dislike and then later hate Michael Burnham.
Also, though, bit of a lesson to a certain someone. This is how you deal with someone asking for asylum, John.
Wow.
Because I figured that was her angle. She was like, so this guy wrote to us, like, he's basically asking for asylum. And they probably went, did he? And she went, fucking yes, he did.
This is pen pals, though, right?
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
for pen pals, yeah.
I thought of that, yeah.
Data answering Sarjenka's message, what Saru did here, or Giorgio did here
But
for
like
Saru.
Picard was really pissed off about I
bet Giorgio's captain was pissed off.
Maybe. Well, then he made. But like the difference is like they didn't take Sarjenka with them. They left her on the planet and wiped her memory.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but she was a kid. Does that matter?
Yeah. True.
Well, is he a kid?
Well, plus she didn't really want to leave. Unlike she wanted her planet to be saved, but
that ain't happening.
But like. He actively wants to get the fuck off of Kaminar.
Yeah,
who can blame him?
My question then is, so what does the Federation know about what is happening to the Kelpians? In that something is happening in which the Baul are removing them from Kaminar.
Yeah.
And they must know that because they know who the Baul are and they know who the Kelpians are.
It's got to be a Prime Directive thing. Like they can't, they know that the Baul are culling these creatures
that are sentient.
Well, they actually can't get involved at all, right? Because it's a pre-warp civilization.
They can't get involved at all.
Aren't.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah,
but
the Baul aren't.
But do the Baul live there, and does that matter?
I don't know if it's. We're going to assume that it's Baul territory.
Yeah.
Where Kaminar is.
Okay.
So if they don't want to have a war with the Baul, they can't really just go in and be like, all right, no culling these people.
Yeah, figure out a new way to eat.
So their Prime Directive would say, okay, we can't directly interfere with what they're doing to the Kelpians, but if a Kelpian reaches out to us and asks for help, I guess we could help that one Kelpian.
Yeah.
And not really be. But they also. Giorgio says that she's not supposed to do what she did because it's a pre-warp civilization. But I don't think that is necessarily. I mean, it might be true, but I don't. My impression is that it's more like what I just said, which is like they asked for help, we can help them, but otherwise we couldn't interfere with what the Baul are doing.
Yeah.
Because she has no qualms about exposing her shuttle to the pre-warp.
Yeah,
society.
she didn't try very hard.
She just flew it right in. So I don't know. I think it's something that it's more of a diplomatic Prime Directive reason versus a pre-warp society.
Well, that's what the Prime Directive has always kind of been. It's like, again, we know the Baul doing this shit, which again, if we assume they are eating them, that's fucked up. And we don't know what their status is with the Federation. But as Star Trek has proven before, Starfleet will happily turn a blind eye to you being a piece of shit if you have... Like, if the Baul have dilithium,
Yeah, I was gonna
they
say,
will...
the mineral rights.
It's like, all right, we can't let you join the Federation, but we will totally trade with you and maybe go to a banquet on your home world and act like we don't know what we're eating.
We should give the Baul the Zahians.
Oh, another thing that this kind of, like, sheds interesting light on is when Saru finds out that Mirror Giorgio fucking eats Kelpians.
Oof. That's fucked up.
Anyway.
I wonder if that means Mirror Giorgio... Mirror Giorgio probably made first contact with the Kelpians,
Oh, no!
Or actually, she made first contact with the Baul, and they were like, hey, these guys are delicious, and she went, fuck yes, they are.
Yeah, I
Throw
think
another
it's safe, I think
Kelpian
it's
on the
safe to
Barbie.
assume that they conquered the Baul and kept their food supply for themselves.
Oh, that's good.
Big space shrimp.
I like that our first scene, or the first thing we see on Kaminar is Kelpians playing with kelp.
Mm-hmm. I thought that, yeah.
It's like, oh, that's why they're called that. They play with the kelp. What do we call these creatures?
It'd be like if we called cows
Yeah,
grass.
so that's like an exonym then, because I'm sure they wouldn't
Yeah.
call themselves Kelpians. It's like the Mon Calamari.
Speaking of delicious races.
Or, Porkins.
Oh God, fucking poor Porkins.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so originally you were going to be a pig monster, but we ran out of money, so you're just
gonna
a
be
fat
a fat guy.
Oh, no.
Which is literally why. Like, that is, he was supposed to be a pig alien, which they eventually would do in Return of the Jedi.
Anyway, speaking of pig aliens.
No, I have one more
Oh,
note.
God damn it! It was such a good
You
segue.
keep doing it, and I'm so sorry.
Well, Chris set up a great segue.
I did without meaning to.
I wanted to say it must be so hard to write with those gloves on.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's why his writing looked like shit.
That's probably it, yeah. And they're only five-letter words. How do you communicate?
Great for Wordle.
How did he know he wasn't talking to the Baul? And like they're like,
That's
yeah,
true.
come meet us.
Hey, you're not the Baul, are you? I mean, you have to tell me, right?
I guess-
No, definitely not the
It would be
Baul.
B-A-U-L question mark?
ASL?
I was about to say
question
that.
mark?
Yeah, I guess, honestly, if you're desperate enough, you take the gamble.
Fair.
And he's gonna get Ed anyway, so
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
swings and roundabouts. He'll be the first Kelpian to decide when he's going to be eaten.
What if he was talking to the Baul? What if the Baul are the Federation?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Delicious.
Anyway, you wanted to move on to The Escape Artist.
Ooh, escapade.
Directed by Rainn Wilson.
Starring.
Also starring Rainn Wilson. And written by Mike McCann, creator of Lower
I
Decks.
was hoping you were gonna say Rainn Wilson.
No. But yeah, I think it has a lot of Lower Decks kind of style to the writing of this. So we'll get into this. So here's what happens. Fucking mud.
Nope, that's it. Fucking mud.
Fucking mud.
That's the whole...
That's most of it. Yeah, so this bounty hunter, Tevrin Crit, buys mud off of another bounty hunter so that he can get the bounty from the Federation somehow? Unclear. We'll get into this. But, he's bringing Mud along. Mud is telling him, please don't do this to me. It's in your. I'll make it worth your while. Flashbacks to other times in which he's been captured by bounty hunters, which is myriad. We finally get to a Federation ship, and the poor guy. We don't get his name. The guy on the Demilo. Damn it. He's like, "Oh, Tevrin Crit, you moron! This isn't really mud. This is an android shaped like mud. We have so many of these things." And then there's a beautiful fucking reveal of a room full of muds, which is very funny.
Trippers
The
on
end.
Trippers on the beach.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess the epilogue is we see the real Mud.
Yes.
Who turns out to be the bounty hunter that sold
The
Android Mud
to
to Crit, which is yeah, I mean this one's a little silly. It's fine though. I mean all the Mud ones are going to be silly, so what did you expect?
I found the ending very funny.
Yeah, the ending was good.
A room full of muds. Another one was missing his arm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I noticed that.
There was one in there, apparently, like, we see one of the extra android muds in the iMud costume.
Yep.
And in the Muds women costume.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I missed that
That's a
one.
Good
I-
touch.
I saw it written, so I didn't actually catch it myself either. But, so, the question then is, so when does this take place? Because he makes a reference to fucking a space whale.
Well, penetrating. We don't know if
Fucking a space whale. Which, unless this happens an awful lot, must be a reference to Magic's Mix a Single Man.
I assume that, yeah.
Which puts it after Stella's gotten hold of him.
Mm-hmm.
So when does this take place? What happened with Stella?
But we also know that he's also escaped from Stella by the time of I, Mud.
Yeah, and Mud's women.
Oh, is Stella even mentioned in Mud's Women? I don't
No.
remember. Okay.
No.
So he either escaped from her or she was just not seen.
Yeah, I doubt she'd just be allowing him to traffic mail order brides, though.
That's true.
So yeah, this could be tech he salvaged from. Yeah, this
From
could be
Mud Planet,
post TOS,
which would make sense.
Yeah.
Because I think someone referenced somewhere online that I saw that in iMud he didn't seem to know an awful lot about robots.
Yeah.
That when he got there, and by the end, he'd programmed like himself with Stella. He programmed lots of
They really
sex
should have
bots.
costumed the Starfleet
So I'm about to say,
in TOS attire then, if they wanted to make it so it was after TOS.
Oh, that's
That
a
does
good
kind of fuck
point.
it.
Yep, that does fuck it. Okay,
Right.
so it can
But
It could be. It just means that they're wearing.
it's costume day on the
Yeah.
USS DeMilo.
well, there is precedence even within Star Trek for like a gradual transition of uniforms. Admittedly, this would be really gradual, but
Yeah.
because like in Generations, we have people both in the TNG uniform and the DS9 style one.
And one goes back at some point.
Yes.
No fucking reason.
No.
it's personal preference.
But yeah, you're right though. If they wanted to make it firm, he should have been in a. Because yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, because I think, figuring out when this does happen now doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no.
But let's. I like just the guy was wearing. It was Throwback Day, and
Sure.
that's why he was in that costume.
The DeMilo really hasn't gotten the memo about the uniform update.
What I'm interested in though is the flashbacks before we know that he's an android.
Mm-hmm.
There's these flashbacks where he's remembering past times he got captured.
Yeah.
Are those him or other robots, or are they just programs that Mud put into this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, because the thing is, even until he gets his arm ripped off, even the Mud android seems shocked to see a bunch of other Muds.
Yeah.
So I could totally see that Mud has put his engrams into these things so that even they don't realize it.
Yeah, it's like the Juliana Tainer thing, where it's like
Yeah.
not until she realizes she's an android does she have any idea.
Yeah. So,
And
like...
she also loses an arm.
Did she lose an arm?
Didn't she lose an arm and that's how Data figured out
I
that
don't
she was
remember.
an android?
There is an accident or something.
Yeah, there's an accident. There's an accident in the cave or whatever where they were doing their research, and she loses an arm.
Oh, I don't remember this.
And then it's like, oh shit, she's an android, and then her husband is like, no, she can't know, or something.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So
sounds
that's
right.
why they didn't.
Her husband doesn't know.
Oh, her husband doesn't
It's
know.
sung in her brain that tells Data.
That's
don't
right.
let her know.
Don't let her know.
Right.
That's right. That's
I
what
remember
it
that
is.
part. I forget the arm thing, but yeah, that makes sense now.
I thought that was how Data figured out.
Well, there was also that whole thing where he realized she was playing the violin exactly the same, which shouldn't be possible for a human.
And her blinks were a certain algorithm
Yeah.
that he recognized. Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely an accident involved.
Yeah, there definitely was. I just don't remember the specifics. But I love her.
But yeah, so presumably if that's what it is, that he's giving his memories to the robots so they can more convincingly portray him, those were probably times he actually, Flesh and Blood Mud, was captured.
Perhaps. Would make sense. I did think, because, the start of this episode, it's like, okay, this is kind of fun.
Mhm.
And, I enjoy the Mud character in this more than I think I did in the
TOS?
other Discovery episode. Name is gone.
Magic.
Magic was fine. I liked him in that. The other one.
Yeah, where he...
Choose your pain.
Choose your
There
pain.
we go.
Thank you, Jake. Where it just felt like they had Mud there just for the reference of it.
Yeah.
This was pretty good, and I liked the first flashback was a good touch, and then the other flashbacks went on for way too fucking long.
Yeah.
I did, though, with the Orion one, I enjoyed... you could wear a cape because rich people can do whatever they want. And then the guy's like, I would look good in a cape.
Would look good in a cave.
And then the woman who comes in, she's like, we have a camera, you fucking moron. Like,
And
that
you'd
was
look
good.
bad in a cape. And he's like, liar.
That would have been good.
Those two Orions gave me big Narek and Narissa energy.
Who were they again?
They were from season 1 Picard, the Romulan siblings, who fuck each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we haven't gotten to them yet in our rewatch. But yes, those two. Yeah, I should remember his name. Because his name is in a track from the soundtrack that I fucking adore.
Of course you do.
It's very good.
Yeah, I think, but the flashbacks, I feel like once they made their little reference and you saw like, oh, it's a cute reference because he either repeated something that he said or did the inverse of something that he had said to the Tellarite bounty hunter. But then the pacing fucking lagged at the end of those scenes.
It's funny when it just feels like they've had to pad a 15-minute episode.
I know, right?
Like,
and maybe that's a little bit why I'm not surprised that this was Mike McMahon.
Yeah.
I will say, I didn't feel like this one dragged, but that's just me.
I think it was once I saw, like, once they made the joke, I was like, oh, good, you made the joke. Oh, you're still going? You're still going. Oh, Jesus. Get back to the normal mod.
I mean, I guess...
I feel like, having not seen it, but just based on what you guys said, I feel like, oh, you're still going?
Yep.
Could just kind of be the tagline for...
Lower Decks.
It's like, this could have been maybe an episode or two, but, oh, we've got 5 seasons, you say. Or 4, or whatever.
Yeah, and this one's... I didn't think it dragged too bad, but I get your point that it is just sort of like, okay, we've seen the same joke now 3 times.
Yeah.
Can we just get on with it?
Exactly. Is that all I had to say about this?
Yeah, it was. I mean, this one was just.
It's
it was
very
fine.
straightforward.
Yeah,
It's straightforward. It's fun. It's goofy.
And I will say that,
Bud's
like...
a scoundrel.
I guess sort of not really a spoiler, but this is the only one of these that actually it exists basically in isolation. In that, like,
it would have come up in season 6, I bet.
there's no payoff though. Like, this is it.
Which
like
is good.
This doesn't tie into anything else. Whereas, like, again, without getting into details, the others do have varying levels of continuation or payoff or whatever.
Yeah.
This is.
But when these first came out, I assumed that they were all standalones and would not affect anything else, and you wouldn't need to know.
Yeah, I suppose that's
like,
true.
They wouldn't come up again for no reason.
Yeah, I guess I was also expecting that, to be honest. Yeah, no, this one's fun, and again, I love the little, like, semi-remix at the end where all they're saying "Jippers on the beach."
I know, that was very good.
Jippers on the
It
beach.
was some great
Jippers on the beach.
editing
Jippers on
and
the
acting
beach.
in that moment.
Yeah, no, that's a fun bit.
Would you guys like to move on to our blogtivity?
Yes, let's.
Yeah,
What is
do
our
it.
blogtivity?
So this will be I say this will be a quick one. I'm sure it won't because we suck at this. But what I wanted to do back because ages ago when we first started doing blogtivities, we went through all the title cards of shows, and I realized every single short trek has a different little intro bit.
Okay.
And even though they're like literally 2 seconds long, I want to compare them.
I didn't notice, so...
They so did.
Like, I saw you say something about title cards, and I was looking for it, but I missed it, so... What do we got?
So-
What do we got?
We're going to watch them. We're going to watch the next season one too because it's just title cards, so it shouldn't spoil anything.
Okay.
Okay, so the moment here with the Discovery flying by is the same for all of them. And then we get to this, Runaway. And then it runs away!
How did I miss that?
Yeah, so all the little title sequences are different because
That's
you'll
cute.
get the runaway text, and then it shoots by like it's running away.
All the little
like
title
that.
sequences have different PowerPoint
Effects.
I know.
Different word.
That's cute and reminds me of, if you ever watch Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, the opening credits actually transition based on stuff happening in the scene.
Oh,
So, like, there's a
wow.
moment where some, like, leaves get blown away and the letters, like, blow away.
Oh, okay.
They go
that
past,
sounds
like,
right.
some water and they ripple away and stuff like that.
That's some good touches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Runaway. Let's look at Calypso's. And again, all these will be up on the blog so that you can watch them all too. This is Calypso.
Does it dance?
I forget. Let's find out.
How did I fucking miss this?
Okay, so again, Discovery goes by. These are all the same.
Whee!
Short treks.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, so Calypso's looks kind of into that little
Lens.
lens
the
where Zora
eye.
is
Yeah.
and
The-
turns green.
That's pretty cool.
Zora's Hal, but she's not evil, so she's not
I was gonna
red.
say she's like GLaDOS, but good. Not,
That's true. GLaDOS does buck that trend. She's an evil AI with a blue lens. No,
No,
yellow.
she's-
Yellow
Yellow
lens.
lens.
Is
You don't
it
see
yellow?
that a lot.
Yeah, she's not a red lens.
Okay, brightest star. There goes Discovery again. This one turned red.
Oh.
Ooh.
Like Hal.
It kind of reminds me of the because the Ba'ul ship had like red lights on it.
Oh, maybe that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, they do it like they're all kind of in the same tone as what the episode you're going to see is.
Yeah.
And that one like is interesting because it kind of like it starts out you see this red and then it flashes white.
Yeah.
Makes me think that maybe that's what the Kelpians see when they get
Teleported.
slurped up.
No. Poor
Possible.
Kelpians. Okay, last one from the ones we've seen so far. So this is the Escape Artist. I love that on the podcast, it's just going to sound like us watching the same thing over and over again, because the sound is the same.
Yeah,
we'll see. 811 times.
We'll see what I can effectively cut.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, and this one isn't even the same music, which is awesome.
It gets unique music.
Well,
It's jazzy.
It's the same music that we saw at the end, I think,
Yes.
when he
Yeah.
revealed. But
Nice.
I also saw like it kind of duplicated
Yep.
the
Yep,
words.
yep.
Which was
Exactly.
kind of neat.
That's pretty clever.
That's
Oh,
good.
so what's going to be tricky now is we haven't seen these ones in the upcoming ones. We haven't seen them in a long ass time.
Are we going to remember?
We might not remember why it's significant.
I mean, I saw them yesterday when I was cutting together these intros, so I
Oh,
know why
fair.
they are what they are. But
That thing is, this is the first time I've seen most of these
Yeah.
since they
Oh,
aired.
okay.
they are a little spoilery for the content of the episode in some
Do you-
cases.
Do you want to wait until next when we get to them then?
You can watch them.
Let's do it. Because then I can look back on this and see if I say anything stupid, like I did back with our Discovery thing.
Wow.
Oh, we'll never see the Enterprise.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
Okay, so this is Q&A, which again will be next season, but we're looking at just the opening sequence.
Q's not in Discovery.
Yeah, but his A is.
Okay, so they did retain the same Star Trek bit. Into short treks. Whoa!
Oh, and then it kind of breaks down.
Okay, I do remember that one.
I don't have any memory of what that's about, but it's cool. It
Yeah.
kind of like scrolls by, and then there's some electrical.
Yeah, there's a
There's
little malfunction, and then it goes up and down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wonder
Oh.
what that will be about. Okay, the trouble with Edward.
This one I remember.
Delicious. I'm so hungry.
I got some Kelpian if you're interested.
I love some.
Space shrimp.
Short treks. The trouble with Edward.
Oh my god!
Oh! And then
Awesome.
they duplicate all over the place.
All over the place.
That's
Wow.
good.
That's very
that
good.
one, I remember that episode. That is apropos.
Yes.
That's
Very
good. Yeah, I love the little appropriate opening sequence.
Yeah.
It's very clever. It's why I really like short treks, and I
Yeah.
want them to come back.
Fair warning. This one does not have the same opening.
Ask Not doesn't?
It does not.
What do you mean?
Well, you'll see.
You'll see. Oh boy.
know that I...
It's just a picture of like, it's a video of
Oh.
Willem Dafoe dancing naked in that movie in the 80s.
Oh. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Oh, so this had a teaser.
Yeah, that one just has a teaser.
Oh, and then it just says Ask Not.
In very threatening red letters.
Oh,
a
interesting.
very threatening title.
So this one didn't have the Star Trek
Yeah,
short
No,
treks
it did
thing
not.
to
It just opened at that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Threatening titles
that's-
are tight.
That seems appropriate for just kind of like dumping you into the situation now.
I
Yeah.
feel like this is the one I remember the least,
This
so
is the
I'm...
one I disliked a lot.
I don't remember any of
Yeah,
that.
I
I
don't
remember the trouble
I
with
don't remember
Edward.
anything beyond that teaser. So
But Ephraim and Dot is going to be fun.
Aw,
I
that's
do
a
like
good
this
one.
one. It's so cute.
I don't remember this either.
Oh, this is the animated one.
Whoopsie, I hit pause like a fool. Yep, off goes the Discovery. The Ephraim ran away like a little robot.
That's
yeah,
cute.
there's also an interesting treatment that they did on the text. I'm not sure what. the
Yeah,
hell
it kind of
is.
went extra
It
3D.
became like glassy almost.
Yeah.
I don't remember the skin because of that part.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out when we watch it.
Okay, The Girl Who Made the Stars.
Also animated.
Also animated, true. Oh, it's made of stars.
Oh, like
I
the
like
girl
it.
That's cute.
That's a cute one.
That was definitely a PowerPoint faded.
Yeah. Now this is the last one. This is Children of Mars, and the other programming note here is this one did not have an intro at all.
Oh.
The title card appears at the end.
Oh.
So this is the title card.
Well, thank you for that caveat, Jake. Let's see what it is. Okay, it fades into Children of Mars.
It's kind of orange.
And that's
And
it.
that's it.
And that's
That's
it.
all you get.
Wow. And that you see at the end, which is
You
kind
see
of
that
interesting.
you see that at the end of the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to collect all these. I'll put them
Yeah.
up on the Tumblr so people can watch them and kind of like see how they kind of reflect each episode
Yeah.
in the Short Trek series.
It's very clever.
It
I
is.
like that they
Isn't
did that.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those little touches. Like, it would be so easy for them not to have thought to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but take, a couple hours and some programmer's time and
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, let's waste money on things like Section 31.
Hooray!
Yeah, but overall,
How
I
many
like...
short tracks could they have paid for instead of that
God.
fucking film?
Oh my
Thousand.
god. Yeah, thousands.
There's multiple songs called Runaway. I know there's like the classic like rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
I have to say my favorite, despite the really cool like organ solo in that song, I prefer, and this is something you'll never hear me say, I prefer the John Bon Jovi Runaway.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
think I
mentioned
know
this
that
before.
one.
It's a great song. By John Bon Jovi, Mr. Bovine Joni himself.
Yeah, because I'm not a huge fan.
Sing us a bar, Jake.
Every night, I can't remember the lyrics, but it's fucking great. But it has that cool intro, which I
It
like.
started to
That
sound
sounds
like
good.
Billy Joel a little bit. I thought you were going to be like, we didn't start the fire. Because it sort of sounded like that,
Yeah, go find it, play it for yourself. You'll like it. But you know what you might not like is that our episode is ending and we're done for this week, and you have to go back to listening to something that is in your real life or a different podcast.
Yeah, go listen to your precious NPR or whatever.
NPR, more like National Progressive Indoctrination Radio.
Windoctrinate. Wait, no.
Windoctrination. Anyway, we are ending for today, but thank you for joining us and listening. As usual, you can find us on the internet at SSHB Podcast. That's spelled PODC cast.com.
The worst part is, I actually, because you did that, blanked on how to fucking spell cast for a second.
See, that's me. I'm a mentalist. I fuck with your head. You can find us there. You can also find us on Tumblr, SSHB Podcast there as well. On Facebook, search for Star Stereo by Podcast. You can find us on Apple iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. Look at that.
That's right.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Spotify, all the usual suspects.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
That's
Find us on
right.
Blue
We're on Blue
Sky.
Sky. We're posting every day just about, so it's always something
Ames
fun.
is making us great
Oh, and-
content
yeah.
every friggin' day. It's
So
amazing.
It's really good. So check us out there. Follow us.
Also, place your bets on when Ames is going to burn out utterly because of this, because, man, is she charging it out.
Pretty soon.
You're incredible.
Pretty damn soon.
But anyway, all that's coming up. What? That's not a word that makes sense with what it was just said.
All that's coming up?
I mean,
No.
it is.
What is coming up, is next week's episode where we will be discussing the premiere of Season 2 of Discovery, Brother. I'll remind you that we've left off with the Enterprise the Discovery encountering the Enterprise
There's going to be a brother.
with Captain Pike.
It's going to be Sam Kirk, the brother.
You got it. You
Yeah,
figured it out.
I knew it.
No, there's no way they'd put Sam Kirk on the Enterprise. That would be absurd.
I like how my laugh sounded like Runaway. Yes!
Anyway, that's it for this week. You'll find that all next week on our show. And until then, if I had any money, I'd be sipping jippers on a beach somewhere.
Jippers on a beach.
Espresso on a beach.
If I had any money, I'd be drinking jippers on a beach somewhere!
Literally, the intro for Runaway is Tilly gets a strange visitor. Boom.
That sounds like a really bad euphemism for getting period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's not a strange visitor, though.
Tilly gets a crimson visitor.
Are you there, Landrew? It's me, Tilly.